Thomas Reinhardt's knuckles scraped against rusted metal as the wrench slipped. Blood welled up, mixing with engine grease. Son of a he sucked in a breath, shoving his hand into his mouth. The bitter taste of copper and oil made him grimace. The rust bucket lived up to its name. Thomas's cargo ship hung in the repair dock of Feroxis Station, held together by determination and industrial-grade tape. Outside the bay windows, the planet spun below. Endless amber storms swirling across desert continents, while floating city platforms drifted through the upper atmosphere like metal clouds. Warning, Imperial convoy approaching. All civilian vessels maintain position. The station's automated voice echoed through the dock. Thomas ignored it, wrestling with a fuel coupling that hadn't been manufactured in 15 years. His scanner beeped, a priority delivery request from the surface. Double rate for rush jobs. He glanced at the approaching convoy through the grimy window. 3 sleek umbrella ships, purple hulls gleaming like oil slicks, escorting a massive golden vessel. The Emperor's personal yacht drifted closer, adjusting thrusters for docking alignment with Feroxis Station. Must be nice, Thomas muttered, returning to his repair. The coupling finally clicked into place. Here ached for the electrical tape, the real secret to keeping any ship flying. An explosion rocked the station. Thomas's head cracked against the hull as he fell. Stars burst across his vision. Through the ringing in his ears, he heard screaming. Another explosion. Closer. He scrambled to the window. One of the escort ships was gone, just debris spinning in space. The second escort fired wildly at shadows. No, not shadows. Stealth fighters barely visible against the black. The Emperor's yacht, listed, its shields flickering like ADing light bulb. All civilians evacuate to emergency shelters. The station blared. Thomas watched the yacht's shields fail completely. In 30 seconds it would be scrap metal. The Emperor would be dead, and the political chaos would shut down every trade route Thomas used to make a living. Damn it. He grabbed his toolkit and ran. The dock's emergency airlocks were already sealed. Thomas kicked open a maintenance hatch and crawled through ventilation shafts, following the blueprint he'd memorized years ago when he'd first started smuggling. The metal burned his palms. The station systems were overheating from the attack. He tumbled out in Docking Bay 7, 20 meners from the Emperor's damaged yacht. Its crews stumbled down the boarding ramp, some carrying wounded. The golden hull sparked where power conduits had ruptured. Get back! An umbrella guard shoved Thomas. Civilians aren't! Your shield generator's fried! Thomas pushed past him, running up the ramp, but your secondary power grid's intact. You can reroute it. Thayart's bridge was chaos. Officers shouted over each other in Umberly, their lilac faces dark with panic. In the center sat the Emperor, an elderly umbrella with deep purple skin and silver markings that traced patterns across his bald head. He looked remarkably calm for someone about to die. You have maybe 60 seconds before those fighters come around for another pass, Thomas announced. Every head turned to him. Who? An officer started. Someone who knows shields. Thomas dropped to his knees, prying open an access panel. Your generator's gone, but you're wasting power on non-essentials. Life support, gravity, lighting. Cut it all. Reroute everything to the deflector array. That's not how shields work, the officer protested. It is if you reverse the polarity, and Thomas yanked out 3 cables, twisted them together with electrical tape, then jammed them into a different socket. Bypass the safety protocols. The lights died. Gravity vanished. Thomas floated, still working by. Touch in the darkness. His fingers found the auxiliary power coupling. He wrapped more tape around the connection, then located the old generator. He'd spotted a backup unit, probably forgotten by the maintenance crew. Come on, you piece of junk. He kicked it. Nothing. Kicked it again. The generator sputtered to life. A blue shimmer surrounded the yacht, just as the fighters returned. Their plasma bolts splashed harmlessly against Thomas's improvised shield. Station security forces finally arrived, driving off the attackers. The yacht's emergency lights flickered. Thomas floated in zero gravity, surrounded by stunned umbrella officers. The emperor drifted toward him, moving with surprising grace for someone his age. You saved my life with tape. The emperor's voice carried amusement and a prayer to whatever. God watches over idiots, Thomas admitted. The emperor laughed. A rich, genuine sound. What's your name? Thomas Reinhardt. I just fix things. No, you do much more than that. The emperor studied him. You're unmarried? Yes. Thomas wasn't sure where this was going. Good. Then I can properly reward you. The emperor's smile revealed too many teeth. By ancient law, any unmarried man who saves the imperial life may choose any unmarried woman from the noble houses as his wife. Thomas nearly choked on his own spit. I'm sorry, what? 3 days later, Thomas stood in the palace's selection hall wearing borrowed formal clothes that itched everywhere. His reflection in the polished floor looked like someone had dressed up a grease monkey for a joke. The selection ceremony is simple, Minister Von explained. The thin Umberly managed to look down his nose at Thomas despite being shorter. The eligible. Ladies will present themselves. You choose. The marriage is immediate and binding. This is insane, Thomas muttered. This is tradition, Von corrected. Dating to our first dynasty, though I should mention no human has ever participated before. Great. No pressure. The massive doors opened. Thomas's stomach dropped. Dozens of Umbrai women entered in formation, each more stunning than the last. Their gowns seemed to float, defying physics with every step. Jewels that Thomas couldn't name adorned their purple skin. They arranged themselves in perfect lines, like the universe's most intimidating beauty pageant. Princess Celeste stood at the front, tall, elegant, with silver hair that moved like water. She smiled at Thomas, a practiced expression that never reached her eyes. Lord Reinhardt, she purred. How wonderful to meet Earth's hero. Thomas nodded awkwardly. She was beautiful. They all were. And they all looked at him like he was a prize. Horse they were evaluating. Princess Nora stepped forward next, her dress changing colors with each movement. I speak 7 languages and play 12 instruments, she announced, as if reading a resume. More princesses, more practiced smiles, more calculated charm. Thomas's eyes drifted to the back of the room. There, half hidden behind a pillar, stood a figure in a simple grey cloak. While every other woman displayed themselves like peacocks, this one seemed to be trying to disappear. Who's that? Thomas asked. Von's expression soured. Princess Volta, the challenged one. Challenged? Cursed? Princess Celeste supplied helpfully. Haven't you heard? She's so hideous, that looking. Upon her brings misfortune. She wears that mask out of mercy for the rest of us. Thomas looked again. The woman's face was indeed covered. A smooth metal mask with no features except eye slots. Her posture radiated discomfort, shoulders hunched as if expecting a blow. Something twisted in Thomas's chest. A memory. His sister, Lily, standing apart at school dances because the other kids said her illness was contagious. The way she'd tried to make herself small, invisible. Thomas walked past the front row of princesses, past the second row. Their whispers followed him. What's he doing? Surely he's not. The human must be confused. He stopped in front of Walter. This close, he could see her eyes through the mask. Violet like all Umbrai, but flecked with silver. They widened in shock. Hi, Thomas said. I'm Thomas. Her voice was soft, uncertain. You should choose someone else. Why? Everyone knows what. I am. I bring misfortune. Thomas thought about his ship held together with tape, about every job that had gone sideways, about Lily, who died because the universe was cruel and random, not because of curses. I don't believe in curses, he said. Just choices and I choose you, the Hal erupted. He can't. The human's lost his mind. Lord Talon will be furious. Vera's hands trembled. You don't understand. I'm not. I have circumstances that everyone has circumstances. Thomas offered his hand. Want to tell me about yours over dinner instead of standing, here being stared at. She looked at his outstretched hand for a long moment, then so quietly he almost missed it, she whispered. You'll regret this. Probably, Thomas agreed. But that's tomorrow's problem. She took his hand. Veterara's quarters were modest compared to the palace's usual opulence. Simple furniture, muted colors, lived in rather than decorated. Thomas appreciated it after the overwhelming grandeur of the E selection hall. "You can still change your mind," Vera said, standing by the window. The evening light filtered through her grey cloak. "The ceremony isn't until tomorrow." "I'm good," Thomas said, settling into a chair that was surprisingly comfortable, despite looking like modern art. "Though I wouldn't mind knowing what I'm walking into." "You really don't know?" She turned to him about me, about my situation. "I know everyone acts like you've got the plague, but you seem nice enough. Good taste in furniture." A laugh escaped her, short, surprised. "You're strange," says the woman in the mask. "The mask is for everyone's protection, from your dangerous face." She was quiet for a moment. "Then I should tell you something. Okay, I have a daughter.